gained from 1.5% to cut another 1 million barrels per day on top of the 2.1 million BPD when we say they don't already agree with. Head on the top Plus TV Africa News, now a round of entertainment and sport with a show back.
Our conversation on One today is with Dr. Charles Omole, a trainer and strategist to businesses and governments across Europe, Middle East and Africa.
To get into the reins of leadership, it won't be given to us. We've got to go and get it.
How do we begin to change the narrative when it comes to leadership in this country?
Well, that's a very excellent question. It is true there is a leadership crisis, but it's not just a Nigerian problem. It's an African problem. The trajectory of all African countries have largely been the same, which is downwards, in the last 30, 40 years. These are people who have not managed two people in their life, some of them, and they want to be president of a 200 million, for them to even have the audacity that, because the Constitution says you have the right to, doesn't mean you should.
Premieres this Friday at 12:30 p.m. with a repeat broadcast on Sunday at 9:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
And on the entertainment, they say Taylor Swift entered a social media page to send prayers to those who say the Nashville tornadoes. It don't cause wahala give when say happen for the town early for the day. As the singer Tekian, he say her heart stay with everybody inside Tennessee when we say the tornadoes don't affect Swift when we say spend a small picking for the Nashville suburb Hendersonville. Now one of the plenty stars when we say send prayers to the people when we say that they stay in Nashville when the tornadoes affect when they be Reba McEntire, Chania Twain, Brad Paisley, Dolly Parton, and Dex Bentley. Two tornadoes happen for Nashville for early Tuesday morning as it scatter plenty house, business them, and place where we say they do party when the basement is joined too. All right, now enough for entertainment. The next one, now for sports. And for sport, they say Confederation of African Football, CAF, they don't appoint their football commercial guy Abdelmanim Bal as the acting general secretary, as Mohad Alji resigned after FIFA Commission 1 audit entered the running of African football ruling body. They confirmed by appointment after one emergency committee meeting when they do for the request of the joint body president Ahmad Ahmad, and they expect him to continue as both acting secretary general and commercial guy until the next meeting of the CAF executive committee. British number 1 and number 2 seeded Johanna Konta is secure her first win of 2020 after a win before world number 1 and 4-time Grand Slam champion Kim Clijsters. When we say they play just her second match since he retired from tennis for the 2012 US Open for 1 hour 25 minutes for the Alberto GNP Seguros. Konta go play Germany Tatjana Maria for inside the second round when we say he passed Alberto Mexicano Texas champion Hetia Wastin for 3 whirling sets. All right, now for you go back break on top this very clock for news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. For better and plenty information, follow us at Plus TV Africa for Facebook, for Twitter, and for Instagram. And go make better sense when subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We will see the same and plenty of that to read them as time they go. My name na Promise Nero. And I thank Ram so that you join us. Well done.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
to an extent, the reading culture of Nigerians is not too good. A lot of people believe that every other thing is much more important than buying a book to read. Apart from the fact that people just want to read books for the purpose of passing their exams or going through school, hardly do people believe that reading outside that purpose still will help them to an extent.
It's been full of ups and downs. Nigerians don't read. I dare to disagree because, we're 16K followers strong on our Instagram account, on other platforms as well. We also have a huge following. So if at all people are not interested in books in Nigeria, we don't have people follow in the first place. And it's so exciting to find out that there are so many people outside of Lagos in deep core parts of Nigeria that are buying and shopping for us, and they are just so excited that this book is locally available and it's sort of like within reach for them. So it's been exciting. It could be better, but again, we do it for the culture, you do it for the passion, and hopefully more stakeholders get interested in it, and it gets better. I got into selling books because I was very passionate about it, and then I was hungry to find other people like me. I wanted to connect with them, and the kind of books that fascinated me were not, I could hardly find people around who were excited about them as well. So at the time, when I interact with people within my age range, they're either talking about some foreign authors that write books outside of the context that I'm familiar with. So I wanted to meet with other young people, other people of like minds who were excited about the kind of books that I liked. And that was basically how it all began. And then beyond that also, I definitely used to go to some website online to find out what books are first to reckon with internationally. And then most of those books are not available locally, so I had to either shop from some big names out there. And then I thought, if these books are available and people are actually talking about them, reviewing them, perhaps there might be young people or people in Nigeria as well that would really want to read about them. So I end up bringing a few copies, see if I can circulate within my circle, publicize, use social media, and see how far it goes. And so that was how it all started.
It's actually more like one of the out of inspiration, and then the drive to bring books closer to people, because at some points that I loved reading, I found it hard getting the kind of books I really always wanted to read. So it was like, you could get this for other people, and then it's been there for me. So I'm having fun doing what I'm doing, and I'm the fact that I can have access to books too as a bookseller is fantastic for me. Yeah, it's been profitable. It's how you do the business that makes it profitable for you. So it's been profitable. It may not be the best of the businesses in the country or in the world, especially maybe in this part of the world, knowing fully well the attitude to reading and education generally, and then even government's attitude to education, So, but still, there are still people who know that without education, they wouldn't be where they are. And then even if they are not educated, they get the best of educated people to work for them. So that means education, which comes through reading of books, is a key and vital role in this life.
It has enhanced reading, but what I realize is that even for those who normally would not like to buy a Bible before, because of the ability to read their Bibles from their phones, a lot of people are beginning to dump reading Bibles on their phones with buying regular Bibles, because they've seen the importance of having to carry a Bible or read a hard copy Bible. When people read from their phones, most times they can't easily go back or even highlight certain things. But with the hard copy Bible, they are able to do some highlighting, go back, make references and all that. So technology, to an extent, it has its own advantage and its own disadvantage to our business. Advantages are the fact that people could, read at any time they want to, in the dark, wherever. But disadvantage is the fact that it's handy, when you have your books on your media, electronic media. But for those who still cherish the hard copy books, they still come back, to pick up the hard copy books from us. A lot of Nigerians are writing more, because virtually on a daily basis we get new books from Nigerian writers, asking that Latona should carry their books. It's a bit challenging, but at the same time we try to encourage them, to review their books and then accept it for display on our shelves.
We still battle with issues of piracy. There are times where royalties are not paid the way they are supposed to. Publishing houses don't put enough effort to promoting books the way they are supposed to. So that way books, and people are not even aware that some Nigerian authors are writing really, really good books. I think sometimes more books written by Nigerian authors are sort of like accepted in the Western world better than they are locally. And also, in terms of marketing, publicity, locally, more effort still needs to be put in place to help us combat issues of piracy, and then ensure that people are more able to access so many of these books as well locally.
For book lovers, I say keep reading because you know already what you are gaining from reading, and then for governments, give more allocation to education. Allocation to education is very important, and you can't have a government that just places less emphasis on education, and every year you expect your people to be better, and then there are fightings. Any small thing, any little thing, there's fights, and it's all because of the level of exposure and education of the people, and it's playing a role in every facet of the economy, every facet of the society, because people are not well enlightened about their rights, about the opportunities that they can actually get, and many of those things come in through parts of education, and reading is part of it.
Death in a family is always sad. Death of a breadwinner with a wife and children is even more so. Around the world, the death of a spouse in most cases bring up challenges that often undermine the quality of life of those left behind. For women, the world calls them widows.
My husband died 2000 January, when I carried small one baby.
I became a widow when I was 47 years old. And my husband was sick for good 3 years. And the family abandoned me and my husband. The family reject us. Nobody out of us. The family reject us. They reject my children. Nobody. I have to struggle.
Who am I to query God? Who am I to challenge God? Because it's the questionable God.
It has been ups and downs, struggling. I'm a mother of 3.
Just once every year, attention is drawn to the Plight on June 23, marked as International Widows' Day.
People will neglect you, people will reject you.
Some people, before they will render help to you, they want to take you to bed.
There are some words that they will say to a widow that will injure that widow's mind, that will make the widow to think back and say,
I tell them not to rely on any man. Don't just believe that your get friend. Don't just believe your family people are there.
If I call some of my husband's friends, the people that I think that they can be of help for me, you see that they will disappoint me at the end of the day, and they will turn it another way around and be looking for a way to take advantage of me because I am a widow.
Being a single parent is terrible, very, very terrible. I didn't even pray it for my worstest enemy.
When your husband is there, you look as if you have an umbrella that covers you. You have respect. But when the man is not there, you see that people look down on you.
Heartbreaking conversations, to say the least. According to recent statistics, an average of 500 men die across Nigeria yearly, some naturally, others unexpectedly.
Because if say my husband die, Nesha die for good. He went and collect money, then kill her.
Please, my ribs, my ribs. I said, what happened? What did you do? Did you fall down? Say no. That very night, he died.
Their death introduces their wives into the growing community of widows. Among them is Mrs. Grace Imariegbe, a struggling widow with 2 children, twins, a boy and a girl. They live in conditions that will break the hardest of hearts.
Things are not be easy at all. Things are not be easy. When we came here, the children was worried, they cry, every time they cry. If I say, let us pray, if they pray, they will turn it to cry. Sometimes all of us will be crying. We will pet each other. Small, before you know, when somebody just favor me, somebody rent me a favor, I use the money, I buy wheelbarrow. When I bought wheelbarrow, I brought it. The children were happy. Say, now we cannot carry with our hair pan again, with head again. Now we can use wheelbarrow to push the sand.
How long have they lived like this, in such squalid conditions?
I've been a widow since 2008. Since my husband died, things are very, very tough. So since then, I'm the one taking good care of my children. The family neglect us, they reject us. Even the piece of land that my husband bought before he passed on, the brothers, they seized this from my children, they collected this from us. So since then, I've been struggling here and there to survive with the children.
We are not going to school in this place. Then my mom said that we should stay at home, that we should be praying, that God should send somebody that should take us to school. In Isashi, life was good there. There was light, there was no mosquito, there was no rain, sun. We were happy there. If there is sun, we enter inside shower, we bath. Now, when we came to here now, life has been hard for us. We are not able to be bathing like before. The mosquito is too much here. Ants. And mosquito is giving us malaria and cold. When they call us to come and fetch water, sometimes we fetch water, they'll give us 300. Sometimes we clear for people. We clear, they'll call us to come and clear. Sometimes they'll give us 1,000 or 1,200. We'll collect it. When we bring the money, I'll give it to my mommy to cook. When there's no food, we use it and buy small things, then we use it and eat.
How did it all happen?
They called my husband from home that he should come, that one of their elder brother died, that is his father's brother, that he will be the one that will lead them for the burial. That is how all of us prepare. So my husband came, Grace, my ribs. I said, what happened? What did you do? Did you fall down? Say no. Before you know, he started sick. That is how we carry him to General Hospital in Benin. That very night, he died. Around 12 o'clock, he died. So, as I stayed for 1.5 years, mocking him. The family reject us. Nobody out of us. The family reject us. They reject my children. Nobody. I have to struggle. No husband, no brother, no boyfriend. I say, no, Jesus is the husband of a widow. I will keep to these children. If it is my last vein, if it is my last life.
Grace is just one in millions. Globally, the number of widows is put around 245 million. And of this figure, over 100 live in extreme poverty. In Nigeria, statistics show that we have over 8 million disadvantaged widows with an estimated 21 million children. This is quite a huge number for any society. Why do these women suffer so?
My first son was in 200 level when I lost my husband in 2009. So I can't discontinue the education of the child. Their family said it's none of their business.
First of all, husband family really face problem for right, for left. Like we people, Umuanda will stand. We talk to you, we will not supposed to talk to you. If you want to go and commit suicide, you can go and commit suicide. They don't care, they don't ask of the children, and they eat, whether school fees or anything. I know what I go through.
But the most annoying aspect of it is that what is due to my children in form of inheritance, maybe from the family, what is due to their father was denied them. And that is what most widows go through.
Up to today, I don't have freedom for when my husband is freedom. Since 19 years now, I don't have freedom.
In Africa, and in Nigeria in particular, there is the belief system that a woman marries a family and not just a man. The allegations against the extended family unit is strong. There are strong claims that some of these behaviors are not random and may have their roots in certain cultures and traditions. We spoke to a chieftain from the Niger Delta and another from the Southeast.
One of the main practice of the people of Uroboland as regards widowhood is that the widow is taken as a special person. She is the responsibility of the whole family. The Urobo woman marries the whole family, not only her husband. That's why my senior brother cannot ask me, say, how is your wife? He will say, how is our wife? So the woman is a mother in the family and a wife to everyone in the family. For that reason, if she loses her direct husband, the rest of the family becomes her husband.
When a woman becomes a widow, traditionally, she has to bury her husband, mourn her husband for a minimum of 6 months. And within that 6 months, the woman has to wear the mourning cloth. She's supposed to shave her hair as a mark of respect for the husband. Then after the mourning period, there comes some questions and answers.
In our land, the woman is even viewed as a property, not to talk of property that they both own together. So the properties that the husband owns with the wife are assumed to be the man's properties. And if the man did not leave a will, I'm talking of current practices now, If the man does not leave a will, even if you go to court, the court will award something to the family. So it is possible, if you are not lucky, the customary court may actually say, you leave the house for the family.
A woman that loses her husband after mourning the husband, depending on her age and her choice, has the right to remain in the family as a married woman to the family. They will give her a knife and say, among the male brothers in the family, anybody she gives the knife means that person will take over the position of the husband.
Asking the woman to marry a member of the family is still on till tomorrow. She is appointed and given to a member of the family to look after in great details. In fact, in marriage, someone in the family has to marry her. If she does not want to marry, everything is handled amicably. She is asked, what is your choice? What do you want to do? And she says, I don't want to marry any member of this family. Okay. So she is allowed to go. But if there is a young man within the family who showed serious interest in her and she kind of snubs him, that member of the family can create a lot of confusion for her. And it can get to the extent where she will be asked to leave the family. Then she must return the dowry. But usually it is a token that is returned. Just a token, not the whole dowry.
Shaving of head is like a respect. It's mark of respect for the husband, you know. But it's still in practice, and the people that normally do it are the Omoadas. But it's not as if you will be forced to do it, but they know it's the tradition.
During the sharing, because that's the other part of the culture, the woman is shared along with the properties of the man. During the sharing, most of it will be given to the children, but some will be given to other members of the family. In fact, in most cases, if your father was old and he had young wives, one of the children of the man will be made to marry the young wives of the late father. I think that practice is not good.
Many people normally confirm and said when a man dies, they sees the woman as a witch. That woman is the one that killed the husband. So I want people to know that, this world is not permanent.
Like now, if they accuse the woman of killing the husband, in my place, they will administer an oath to you. We are not God. Vengeance is left for God. The oath taking is like convincing the community or your accusers that I did not kill this man, I did not have hand in the death of this man. It doesn't mean whether you have hand or you don't have hand. Nobody has the work to do to determine whether you have hand in the death or not.
You are a witch, you killed your husband, you can stay there and suffer. Nobody will do anything about you. But if it is a serious case in which people actually believe strongly, they will ask her to take all kinds of oaths. Some people will even go to the extent of asking her to drink the water that they use in washing the husband. Things like that.
A lot of innovation has come up and it has really affected the culture. And it's a blessing because what people know now is not what they knew those days. You don't just get up and condemn somebody all in the name of you committed atrocity, you committed unforgiven whatever. You don't take laws into your hand. There are laws there. The traditional customs is a matter of conscience. I mean, if you decide to administer an oath on me, It's left for me to, I have the right to say I will not. The issue of you kill your husband during this, I don't subscribe to that. And it can't happen in my reign. Because when somebody is dead, there are other means of identifying what killed that person. It was in those old days that they don't have the system, the mechanism to identify what killed that person. Now, anybody that is dead, you can do autopsy. An autopsy report will definitely indicate what killed the man. And if the autopsy report reveals that the woman killed the husband, she will face the law.
A woman who has been very good within the family can never be abandoned by the family. I can tell you that. It's only a woman who has been difficult, particularly to her husband, while the husband was alive. In fact, it will even be assumed that she is responsible for the death of the husband. That's the more reason why people will, will abandon her.
Employers of labor of these men who work hard and pass away untimely, often without a plan in place for their family's welfare. What role do they play?
After my husband left, the colleagues threw us out, pack our load to Main Road. He's a fireman, firefighter. The first time, they nail our door joined together, keep me with the children 2 weeks outside. No food, no clothes. All our property is inside house. Then after that one, they throw it outside.
My husband was the first man, and we were living in barrack because the government gave us 6 months to pay almost 2 million. And the job, I'm a teacher by profession. I'm in a low-rank officer.
Like the place I went to college. Now, and I find out that they don't even want to give me a shop because I'm a widow. They gave me that shop at the first time, and they later used another way to collect it. They are asking, do you think that the woman can be able to pay for this shop if the rentage is due? Because she's a widow. And when we talk, people will support her.
Till today, they have not given us anything. The last time that they came to our place that warrants me to stand naked before them, this man died in acute service. No burial, nothing. No care for the children. Not even a handshake for any good thing of life.
See, that's not surprising that that happened. I mean, I've heard of several cases of things like that happening. For those kind of companies, it's a question of economics, you know. They're thinking time, they're thinking money, and if they have no, I mean, if that spouse isn't working with them anymore, there's somebody else waiting for the same accommodations. So for many organizations, they would have what you call some type of insurance, such that when a spouse dies, they're able to take care of their beneficiaries. In this case, it will be the widow and her children. For most organizations, it's one payoff. It's just a payoff. Some organizations will spread it over a couple of months. Really, there are no laws as to how it is done. It just depends on the organization. Some organizations will take them up for maybe a year, pay school fees, and do stuff like that. But usually, a lot of these things are agreed beforehand, and it depends on the type of insurance coverage the organization has for the employees.
A report not too long ago by the United Nations identified the continued plight of widows as a major threat to the realization of the Millennium Development Goals 1, 3, and 8, which seeks to end poverty, promote gender equality, and engender global partnership. Now, Nigeria, as you may know, is among the 120 signatories to the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. But much has not changed in the way women, especially widows, are treated in the society when it comes to the issue of inheritance and rights. What does the law say?
Once a woman loses the husband, she should be predisposed to certain kind of information, okay? Nobody have the right, okay, to inherit her as property under our laws. Nobody have the right to inflict traditional and cultural violent practices against her. Nobody have the right to subject her to sleep in the same room where the corpse of her husband is kept, because that's exactly what they do in some of the culture. Nobody shall be subjected into any kind of servitude. Nobody shall be dehumanized of his human person or be disrespected, you know. So that is why women should think first and decide, take on a statutory law marriage. That is very important. And while the husband is alive, they should also remind the husband to have a will. Because once the man have a will, and in his will he has stated everything there, the woman is at advantage, because the will determine how the thing will go, okay? But where there's no will, the man dies intestate, and she's married under native law and custom. She's in trouble.
Governments say they're doing their best. Some tout the various amounts they spend on widows' welfare. Wives of state governments, and even that of the President of Nigeria, have pet projects that hope to address some of the basic issues so identified. But experts say these are just too little. More needs to be done, definitely.
The suggestion I will give to government is that the various states we have, they should come up with legislations, laws, that once a woman loses the husband, if she's not skilled, okay, if she's not skilled, she should be enrolled in a program of her choice. And then the government should cater for that.
Government can come to our aid. Your lady, he said you cannot be giving fish. You have to teach somebody how to fish, so that by tomorrow that person will not disturb. If they can help us raise a little money for us to be trading, so that we'll be able to take good care of our children, we'll be glad.
God has already do it for me, but I pray that God, some widows that just happen, their own just happen, let government put eye for them and help them, because it's not easy thing.
Those that God give the ability to care, the ability of caring, they should try and care for widows, not hoping to get something in return from them, because it's only God that rewards.
Agreeably, some women are lucky either to be well provided for by their spouses or they're gainfully engaged financially. But for the majority, as you've seen so far, the story is rather an uneven one. The truth? Non-governmental organizations are plentiful across the continent of Africa, and Nigeria has its fair share, like the Blessed Fruit Foundation and the Trinity Center, that work to help alleviate the challenges widows face.
In 2008, I got a call that I should work for widows and orphans. I should support and assist them.
Actually, I lost my husband at a very tender age, 30 years, 1985. I was just 30 years, 1985, and with tiny children. It was not easy, but I continued trying. But along the line, I had this urge to call and help them through their plights, address their issues.
And since then, we've been having so many programs, and a lot of widows have been coming to register with us. Now we have over 200 or 300 of them registered with the foundation.
Their faith help us a lot. They help us, especially
especially for food. Then if person is sick, we prepare them.
Well, we have several intervention programs. The first and most important one is what we call the Business Empowerment Program, where they apply for loans. And the loans are interest-free. The foundation pays the interest for them. They just pay the principal over a period of 6 months. Then we have a program we call Back to School, where we support about 50 children.
As highlighted by the United Nations, empowering widows through access to adequate healthcare, education, decent work of lives free of violence and abuse requires more than charity if they are to have a chance to build a secure life after they lose their loved one. The role of the government, the UN emphasizes, is to take action to uphold their commitment to ensure the rights of widows as enshrined in international law, including the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women and the Convention on the Rights of the Child, are upheld. What is your role, you say? It will never happen to me. So did some of the women we spoke to, and many others think. Just do what you can for the widows around you. Little drops of water, they say, makes a mighty ocean. We can, if we choose. Hello and many thanks for joining us on News of the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are some of the stories making the headlines. My name is Felicity Ezewike. The United States Department of State is offering a reward of up to $7 million, an equivalent of 2.5 billion naira, for information leading to the arrest of Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shekau. The Rewards for Justice program, which is the counterterrorism rewards program of the United States Department Diplomatic Security Service, said in a tweet on its official Twitter handle on Tuesday. The United States Department of State offers a reward of up to $7 million for information leading to the arrest of the terrorist Abubakar Shekau, leader of Boko Haram. Shekau has been the leader of Boko Haram since the extrajudicial killing of its former leader, Mohammed Yusuf, in 2009, the tweet read in part. The Center for Africa Liberation and Socio-Economic Rights, CALSA, has accused several parties in the Northeast of benefiting from the war against terrorism. The executive director of the center, Princess Ajibola, spoke to Newsmen in Abuja, saying available evidence suggests that several notable personalities in the Northeast are hell-bent on sabotaging the war against terror. Ajibola, while commending the military for the effort against the terrorists, urged them not to relent and remain committed as they rid the nation of terrorist elements.
We wish to state that on numerous occasions, where researchers from CALSA were on the field conducting periodic reviews of the war against terrorism, it has encountered on numerous occasions top brass of the Nigerian army with the troops in the trenches, and worthy of mention is the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai. This is quite commendable and an indication that indeed the leadership of the Nigerian army has matched words with actions in the fight against terrorism in Nigeria. It must be noted that it is indeed a statement of the fact that all hands must be on deck in pursuit of the defeat of the remnants of Boko Haram ISWA in Nigeria and especially in Northeast region. The Nigerian military must not also tolerate any act of sabotage from any quarters in the fight against terrorism in Nigeria, as multiple evidences suggests that some vested interest in northeast Nigeria that have been benefiting from the Boko Haram ISWAP terrorist groups and their activities are hell-bent on seeing to the continuation of hostilities so they can continue to smile to the bank at the detriment of the generality of the people of not only Nigeria, but especially the people of northeast Nigeria.
The Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, Osun and Ondo State Houses of Assembly on Tuesday passed the Security Network Agency and Amotekun Core Bill into law. The bill seeks to unify the proposed law guiding the security outfit Amotekun, jointly established by the 6 Southwest governors. The Lagos State House of Assembly unanimously passed the bill after the Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, and his colleagues read it for the 3rd time. In Ogun, the bill sent by Governor Dapo Abiodun was passed 19 days after. In Oyo State, the House of Assembly called on Governor Seyi Makinde to sign the bill into law after passing it, while in Osun State, the House of Assembly passed the bill after amending some of the clauses in it. In Ondo, the House of Assembly passed the bill after the majority leader of the House moved a motion for the document to be submitted by the Chairman, House Committee on Security. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has rejected the verdict of the Supreme Court on the review of its judgment on the Imo State governorship election. It faulted the judgment of the Apex Court in a statement on Tuesday by its National Publicity Secretary, Kola Olugbodiyan. The court dismissed the application filed by the PDP candidate, Emeka Ihedioha, seeking a review of its judgment, which removed him from office after about 10 months. Ihedioha faulted the declaration of Hope Uzodinma as the Imo State governor and asked the court to return him back to office. But the application was dismissed in a majority judgment of a 7-man panel of judges led by Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Muhammad. The House of Representatives on Tuesday agreed to suspend plenary for 2 weeks over the dreaded coronavirus detected in Lagos and feared to have been transmitted to some persons in several states of the Federation. The motion was moved by Honorable Josiah Eden and amended by Honorable Ndudi Elumelu at plenary on Wednesday. The House says the 2 weeks recess will allow the management of the National Assembly put in place equipment that will help in screening and detecting the symptoms.
There is serious need as a parliament, as the people representative, for the leadership of the National Assembly to set up a committee that comprises of the senators and members of House of Reps, a joint committee to look into this matter, to interface with the executive, to play oversight function on all health institutions, all the agencies, so that this matter can be controlled. Because if we don't do this, it's going to spread like wildfire across the entire country.
Mr. Speaker, it will be a tragedy. And God forbid, if anything happens, and we need to isolate 1,000 people, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, what do we do? China built a 50 to 100,000 isolation center in less than a week.
As everybody who has sensible or who is responsible enough to know that this sickness can kill.
Even when a minister in charge was addressing the world, the kind of seat, Mr. Speaker, that he was seated on shows the world how ready, indeed, how ready Nigeria is. It simply means that we're not prepared for anything. Therefore, there is urgent need for all hands to be on deck.
This House should suspend plenary for a period of 2 weeks or thereabouts for the purpose of certifying everybody and also allowing management to put measures in place so that all of us can be tested. Because we may be taking it as a very joking matter, but it's a very serious matter. And I think that this House should take it as a very serious matter. Otherwise, you will not know who you will be shaking.
In reaction, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control has said the decision of the House of Representatives to suspend plenary for 2 weeks is needless. Ihe Kwazu said shutting down the lower chambers of the National Assembly could cause panic and send the wrong signal to Nigerians. He, however, asked Nigerians to curb the spread of fake news by only sharing information from the official sources. The House of Representatives has described the indiscriminate casualization of workers by employers of labor as criminal and an abuse of the rights of the employees. The House, while contributing to the bill seeking to amend the Nigerian Labour Act, sponsored by Honorable Wale Raji, says casualization of workers is supposed to be a short-term measure, but employers of labor now use it to cut costs and deprive employees of their rightful benefits. The bill, which is seeking to criminalize casualization of workers by employers after 6 months of engagement, passed the second reading.
Failure to comply with the provisions of subsection 1, 2, and 2 above is an offense, and the employer, in the case of natural person, shall be liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 2 million naira, or to imprisonment of a period of 2 years, or to both such fine and imprisonment as the court will deem fit without prejudice to the right of the workers to see full entitlement as provided under this section. Why will you keep somebody for 3, 4, 5 years as a casual worker? If he's not doing well, why are you applying? And I just say that what is happening is that in the banks, some top management staff of the banks who want to make money, we now employ people as casual. They will be paid the full salary the worker is supposed to earn. They put the balance in their pocket and pay the people pictures. That is also what is happening in the oil economy. There's no country in the world that goes that way. The citizenry must have confidence, they must have trust, they must have this conviction that there are procedures and law to secure them from being exploited.
You have people who are engaged to work. They do the core work. But even in the workplace, they cannot go to the same place where those who work with them go to. They can't enter the same lift. They can't eat in the same place. They don't earn the same salaries. They're treated differently. It is one in which some Nigerians are just mere slaves, while some are treated as some kings in a workplace where people work equally. And I think it's a bad precedent. At the time the issue of casualization was started in Nigeria, it was meant to be short-term measure. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months to fill gaps. But what you have in these industries now is that they're using casualization and outsourcing especially as ways of lowering costs and shying away from their responsibilities to Nigerian work.
The Save the Children International, in partnership with the United Kingdom Agency for International Development, UK Aid, says all is set for the commencement of the second phase of its Child Development Grant Program. The initiative, which was launched in Zamfara and Jigawa states about 6 years ago, is aimed at reducing widespread poverty, hunger and malnutrition among pregnant and lactating mothers. Our correspondent, Amadine Uyi, reports.
The Child Development Grant Program was launched in the year 2013 as an unconditional cash transfer program. The 6-year-long social protection program, which was implemented by the Save the Children International in both Zamfara and Jigawa states, ended in 2019 and was sponsored by the United Kingdom's Department for International Development, DFID. Assessing the program after completion of its first phase in 2019, findings show an improvement in the standard of living of beneficiaries.
The aim of the project, of the program, was to ensure that women, very poor and vulnerable women, have monthly stipends of 4,000 naira to contribute to the nutritional value of the family. The program entirely had about 12 billion naira that was expended, and it reached over 100,000 beneficiaries directly.
However, the project wasn't without its own share of challenges.
Some of the challenges of the monitoring that were discovered during the monitoring program on the field was just the distance in terms of the location. Other challenges include security. Other challenges include payment for the beneficiaries in terms of liquidity, getting cash from the bank to the community. We had what we call the inclusion error and the exclusion error, whereby a beneficiary try to get into the program even when they are not eligible to be part of the system. Like those women who are not pregnant and they are trying to shortcut the system and then get themselves into the system. And also we also have the cross-border issue, whereby women from other communities who are not eligible to be part of the program find themselves, due to one reason or the other, be able to find themselves into the program.
With the success recorded in the first phase of the project, the Save the Children International says preparations are now in top gear for the commencement of the project's second phase. With this in mind, the Save the Children International commenced its social protection training for civil society organizations as well as media practitioners.
The program is focused on supporting policies, ensuring that we have the right policies in place, ensuring that we have the right systems and structures in place to implement social protection program, ensuring that the civil society are able to participate effectively to hold government officials to account.
The essence of this exercise is to enlighten the CSOs and also the media about the social protection plan, and also to give them a broader overview.
Amadine Uyi, Plus TV Africa.
The news will continue after the short break. Don't go away. The last Ebola patient in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, has been discharged on Tuesday from a treatment center in the northeastern town of Beni. This was disclosed in a statement by the World Health Organization Africa region. The patient, Tamasiko, was discharged from the Ebola facility in an emotional ceremony. The country has been battling the scourge for over a year. The milestone comes as more countries increasingly report cases of coronavirus. Togo's Constitutional Court on Tuesday rejected opposition claims of electoral fraud and declared Faure Gnassingbe the winner with more than 70% of the February vote and president from northern Italy, specifically from response to country needs.
Transmission of COVID and